All right, guys, as a registered dietitian, I know that eating plant-based foods are super important for us. They're super great for us, but you guys also know that I am a non-diet intuitive eating dietitian. So how do you marry those two things together? In this video, that is exactly what we're gonna go over because I do believe that those two things can coexist. Focusing on a plant-based diet or focusing on the actual health and nutrition knowledge of food and not dieting, right? Following intuitive eating and food freedom. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Before we get into it, guys, I have to tell you that I am hosting a totally free 5-day challenge to help you jumpstart your intuitive eating journey and find what's called your set point weight. So this is the weight that your body wants to be at. Some might call it their happy weight, whatever you wanna call it. It's essentially, like I said, the weight that your body wants to be, where it functions optimally and feels its best. That's honestly the whole goal of intuitive eating, right? So be sure to sign up for that. It's totally free. It's hosted by the Society, my membership community. I'll put all the information in the description where you can sign up, but I only do this once a year and you guys go insane over it. So it's gonna be like one big party in there. You do not wanna miss out. It's gonna be from June 6th to June 10th of 2021. So if you're watching this in real time, be sure to sign up. If you're watching it after, then just be sure to hop on the email list. You can take the quiz that I have in the description as well and hop on there to be notified when the next one is open. But guys, do not miss that. In that challenge, I'm really going to talk about how to marry these things together even more, that health and nutrition knowledge, because food freedom and intuitive eating is not just throwing that stuff out the window. It's marrying these two, which we're going to talk about in this video. So with that, be sure to sign up for that. It's going to be one big food freedom, intuitive eating party in there. And let's do it. I'm going to sit you down because my arm is killing me. As always, guys, this video is meant for entertainment purposes only. It is not meant to be specific medical or nutrition advice for you. If you do need more advice on anything that we talk about in this video, be sure to reach out to your healthcare provider immediately. All right, guys, so like I said, we're gonna talk about what the heck are the benefits of a plant-based diet, right? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about how to marry those two things together. I'm really picky when it comes to plant-based foods, specifically plant-based protein sources, which protein is important. It helps to keep us nourished. It helps to keep us full and satisfied between meals, and our muscles like it, right? I'm really picky about protein sources, but I found 2 plant-based protein sources. We do Meatless Monday every Monday, and these 2 protein sources, I can't wait to show you because they're so good. Even my totally meat eater husband loves them. They've got that stamp of approval. Okay, guys, so first of all, let's talk about what are plant-based diet benefits. Like, why would someone even want to focus on including more plants in their diet? And really, plant-based foods, guys, are powerhouses for things like vitamins and minerals, for things like fiber, antioxidants, all of those things that our bodies love. Diets that are high in fruits and vegetables have been shown with a decreased risk for certain disease states like type 2 diabetes, decreased chronic inflammation, and improved heart health. Great, right? Now, plant-based diets have also been shown to be more sustainable for the environment because they require less resources to sustain. One study actually cited that there was a 20% reduced diet-related greenhouse gas emissions related to consuming a plant-based diet. So there's a lot of reasons why we would want to consume plant-based diets, whether it's for the overall health, whether it's for your views on the environment or your ethics. There's so many different reasons why we would want to do that, right? Now, when consuming a plant-based diet, considering the health aspects of it, there are some different nutrients of concern that you may not be getting or that you just want to be aware of when you're not consuming animal-based products. So one of those nutrients is iron, because iron bioavailability, which essentially means the iron that our body is able to readily use, is lower in plant-based food versus animal products. So someone who's following a plant-based diet would actually want to consume more iron because it's not as readily available for our bodies to use. Leafy greens, legumes, quinoa, and tofu, which is one of the ones I'm going to show you after, are really great sources. Calcium is another nutrient of concern that you just want to be aware of, guys. Calcium is super important for bone mineral density, and low bone mineral density has actually been seen with vegan diets. Our bodies actually regulate our calcium levels, so if we're not getting enough calcium from foods, our bodies are going to take it from other stores that they have, like our bones. Lots of foods sometimes are fortified with calcium, like fortified orange juice or milks, but tofu, again, molasses and kale are also sources. And those are just 2 nutrients of concern, but just something to think about, you guys. So how do we go about getting all of these plant-based diet benefits with not dieting or following food rules? Now, what I want to describe to you is that food freedom and intuitive eating, despite what Instagram makes you think, is not just, okay, I'm gonna eat cookies all the time, or I'm gonna, always pick the ice cream or the juicy burger. It's this, okay, I'm gonna explain this to you guys. this is exactly the way that I explain it in the society, is it's a Venn diagram, okay? So on one side, we have our inner knowledge. So that is our cravings, our desires, what we want, right? Our hunger cues. On the other circle, we have the outer knowledge. So this is things like nutrition knowledge, health information, ethics, those sorts of things. That's kind of more of like our brain. So it's almost like our body and our brain. You could kind of think of it that way too. And what food freedom and not having food rules is, it is the coming together of those two circles, okay? So what I mean by that is that middle part where that overlaps, that is what it is, okay? I think a lot of people forget that our brain is part of our bodies. So yes, I'm all for listening to our bodies, but our brain is also part of our body. So that's where things like, okay, I know that, okay, plant-based diets are gonna be healthy for me. My body's gonna love them. The environment's gonna love them. Fabulous. I have meatless Mondays. We've been doing this for years now, me and my husband. I think we've been living together for like 6 years. So about 6 years we've been doing meatless Mondays. It started as a fun thing to do, try new things. I am not the best plant-based cook, so it was kind of like a fun thing for me to try. And also my body, the environment's gonna love it. So that's a little what I call gentle nutrition in there. It is the marrying of those things, okay? And one thing to note is that these circles can ebb and flow throughout life. So if you are starting this journey, this food freedom intuitive eating journey, it is likely that right now, inner knowledge is going to be your dominant circle because you are getting back in touch with that. But over time, it's going to shift and you can find more of that #balance. I hate that word, but you know what I mean. They're more able to have kind of a more even overlap. Now, there's also some times in your life where they may not. And again, these are not static. They can ebb and flow. I don't know why I keep doing this. Like you guys can see all of this. So with that, like I said, maybe someone was just diagnosed with a specific disease state or an allergy. That outer knowledge, that outer wisdom may take more of some more space in that. Or I know I've been following some people on Instagram and they've just had kids. And so they're just like, I'm in gentle nutrition because you have to get in touch with those inner cues as well. Because when we follow diets and restricted food rules, we're just following outer knowledge, right? We are typically disregarding our inner knowledge. So that's where our focus needs to lie at first, in neutralizing foods, right? Because in my mind, when you get to this place where they're more even, like I would say where I am right now after doing this for years and being able to teach this, is that, a burger and tofu, neither of them is good or bad. They both have their time and place. There's gonna be times when I'm like, sure, I'll have some tofu, sounds delicious. There's also gonna be times when I might just say I'm gonna have a burger. So I also think it's important to give yourself some leeway in that if you, again, are doing it more for the health benefits, because going so strictly in one direction is just not gonna be healthy. We know that. Another thing you want to think about when thinking about a plant-based diet is, what is your why for this? I talk about this a lot because it's that important. What is the reason that you want to include a plant-based diet? Is it because you understand that, oh, my body will love this? Or is it, oh, I feel like I should do this? Are you shoulding yourself? That's very important. We want to make sure that we're doing it it's more of an empowered choice than just blindly following advice, right? That I think is huge. And there's a difference between a food rule and a food preference. So let's take having tofu, for example. So say we're gonna have tofu for a meal. A food rule would be, I have to have tofu. It is, I have to do meatless Monday. Let's say that. I have to have tofu on meatless Monday. And I would feel, if I didn't have that, I'd feel guilty. I'd feel stressed. I'd feel anxious, or I'd feel quote unquote unhealthy. That signals a food rule, that guilt, stress, or anxiety. However, if you are saying, okay, I'm gonna include some tofu on Monday. Let's start meatless Monday. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna enjoy this. But you know what? I'm not gonna feel guilt, stress, or anxiety if I have a burger. I'm not gonna feel guilt, stress, or anxiety over not having the tofu, right? That's more of an empowered choice. Another example of a food rule versus a food preference is, I use the example of going through the grocery store and seeing bread a lot. So let's imagine you're in the grocery store. Let's do a little visualization. You have whole grain wheat bread and you have just plain white Wonder Bread. Would you feel guilt, stress, or anxiety if you picked the white bread versus the wheat bread? You shouldn't feel guilt, stress, or anxiety if it is a preference. A food rule would mean mean that when you pick the white Wonder Bread instead of the whole grain, you feel, ooh, guilty or anxious that you should be picking that one, okay? So does that kind of make sense? It's more of an empowered choice, and when you see food is neutralized, again, that is the goal here. That is the goal of intuitive eating and food freedom. It's not to put these different foods on a pedestal. It is to have it an empowered choice and to remove that guilt, stress, or anxiety. So for me, I do typically like to pick the wheat bread because I know, okay, it's got some fiber in there, it's got some added nutrients, it's whole grain, fabulous. I'll pick that. But you know what? If they ran out and all that was left was white Wonder Bread and I wanted to have a sandwich, that would be fine. That is a perfect example of a food preference. It's also important, kind of along that line, to think about your goal with having a plant-based diet. So is your goal, again, to reduce? A lot of people go on plant-based diets because they think it's going to cut calories, it's going to have them lose weight. Is that your goal? Or is it more of, oh, I know that these things are going to be beneficial for my health because of the nutrients, the antioxidants, those sorts of things. Weight does not equal health, guys. We know this more and more as we are diving into really the health at every size movement and learning more about this. Studies have shown that it is the health promoting behaviors, not the weight itself, that influence and improve health. This is why it's so important not to be pursuing strictly weight loss. It's important to be focusing on finding your set point weight, which is the weight that your body wants to be at, right? And everyone's set point weight is unique. So if you are pursuing a plant-based diet because you're saying, oh, you know, it's going to improve my health, I want you to ask yourself, what does that mean for you? Does that mean weight loss, or does that mean true health improvement? An example could be, you know, we were just talking about this in the society, talking about I want to improve, you know, different aspects of my health. I just went to the doctor and we chatted about some specific lab values. So let's go back to some of those benefits. So improving heart health. Adding plant-based foods to your diet and focusing on including some gentle nutrition in that way could likely improve your heart health. That may or may not have an impact on your weight, but that, again, that weight itself is not necessarily what is going to improve heart health. It is those health promoting behaviors. I wish I could say that a million times over, you guys. Same thing with moving our body, giving our body physical activity. It's the actual act of getting physical activity, not the weight itself. That may or may not change your weight depending on where you are at in relation to your set point weight. But again, that is not the goal. We have got to step away from this idea that weight equals health. I'm not saying that everyone is going to be healthy no matter what size they are at, every single size. What I'm saying is that everyone can be healthy at the size that is their set point weight, right? That is so, so important. All right, guys, I hope that gave you an overview of really the benefits of a plant-based diet and how to know if you're doing some gentle nutrition or if maybe it's a food rule and you need to work through that a little bit more, and to just give you some ideas into how to incorporate a plant-based diet without dieting or following diet culture or food rules. So now I want to show you guys some of my favorite plant-based protein sources, because that's where I struggle with the most, is A, cooking it, and B, liking plant-based protein sources. So I have 2 of them for you and I'm super excited, so let's do it. All right, guys, so to make my tofu, what I do is I take extra firm tofu, and you're gonna wanna go ahead and take it out, obviously, and drain the water from it. And then I actually asked you guys on Instagram what the best way to do it was, and you guys just said wrap it in a kitchen towel. I need to get a tofu press, but this is how I'm doing it now. Wrap it in that, put some heavy pans, I use cast iron skillets, on top. I let this sit for about an hour, and then I bring it back and I'll cut it into cubes. Right now, I'm really, really loving sesame oil on top of it, so I'll put some on there, toss it all up, and I put it in the air fryer, guys. This is the best way to cook it. Air fryer, 15 minutes, 375, shake it once halfway through, and then you have the most perfectly cooked tofu. It is crispy on the outside, nice and soft on the inside, nice and tender on the inside. This is the only way I eat it. All right, guys, my next plant-based protein source for you is textured vegetable protein. This is kind of a strange product. It's like a dehydrated soy. So what you do is you essentially mix it with water, and the directions are on the package. It might vary. I use Bob's Red Mill, and it just gives me ratios to use. So I put that in there, and then I just put this taco seasoning right in it, pop it in the microwave, again, according to the package directions. And then when it comes out, just fluff it with a fork a little bit. And I love, love, love this for obviously tacos, taco salads. It is delicious. And like I said, my husband totally approves of this too. It is one of my favorite things. All right, guys, I hope those gave you some ideas to try. Seriously, both of those are my go-to. Air fryer tofu, guys, I will never cook tofu a different way. And the textured vegetable protein, it's kind of a strange product, but I really, really dig it. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you liked this video. Let me know in the comments if you are signed up for that free challenge. I cannot wait to have you guys in there. It is like one big party. Like I said, I only do this one time a year and I'm super excited about it. So if you are ready to stop dieting, make peace with food in your body, you definitely want to sign up. All that information is in the description for you. So if you guys like this video, as always, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, the little bell to be notified, and I will see you guys back next week with another video, and I will see you in the challenge if you're signing up for that. See you later.